Peter Whitney, co-founder with your wife, Janita, in Bambi.
Glad to meet you, Mark.
Pleased to have you here. Let's talk about 30 years ago. You've worded me up. Janita had this idea.
Well, I had the idea.
Oh, right.
But, I was working in Sydney at the time, and
As a fumbling accountant?
Bumbling accountant,
Okay.
yes, a cost accountant actually. And the company I was working with was making car seat covers, and they were making lamb's wool car seat covers, and they had a lot of offcuts. These offcuts were ideal for making lamb's wool car seat covers for safe and sound child seats. So I started to purchase these offcuts. I'd bring them home at night, bring them home on the weekend, and we would cut those offcuts into pieces.
Right. Are you a seamstress, an accountant and seamstress by the sound of it?
No. I was a cutter, and we had an electric cutter which used to. I reinforced a ping pong table, and I used to cut these pieces on the ping pong table, and then my wife Janita used to take these pieces out to home sewers who would sew the pieces together in their house. Then she would go around and pick them up, bring them back to our house and pack them and send them out from where we lived at Tascott.
And let's say 30 years on, you're now selling into China.
30 years,
What are you
yes.
selling into China?
We sell woolen quilts, Australian-made woolen quilts, because the Australian wool is the best in the world. It's funny, we sort of take Australian wool for granted here, but when you go overseas, it's very well known that Australian wool is the best. Australian wool is nice and clean. It has those terrific properties that make wool a very successful product for bedding. Wool breathes. It breathes. It will adjust its warmth and comfort to changes in your body temperature.
And this is under the sheets or over the sheets? Which?
Both. The wool quilts go over the top of the bed, and we have a woolen underlay which goes over the mattress and under the bottom sheet. Mm-hmm. So you can have wool on the wool underneath with the wool on top.
So when did you give up the fumbling accountant's role?
And that terrible commuting.
Yeah. How long ago was
that? That was 30 years
okay.
ago.
And what's Janita got planned for you for the next year or so?
We're slowly easing up in the business. We now have a CEO, and we're gradually transferring the management to him. However, we still have a lot of our family involved in the business.
How's that been? Have you had a strategy about that? Because we love family businesses, but they require discipline sometimes.
Oh yes. We're working on that. It's a bit of a work in progress. Having family involved in the business is very good in that they are very dedicated and they give that little bit extra to the business. Our eldest son runs the operations side of the business and does it very, very well. Our other son runs the sales. He's a very good salesman. And then we have a daughter that works in the office, and her partner works in the office, and we have work done by the husband of our eldest daughter. So everyone's involved in the business.
Indeed. Well, do you have boardroom or dining room discussions, or is that forbidden?
Mark, that's
I'm talking to you, and I should be talking to Janita about that. I'm sure.
We've always tried to keep that separate, but it's difficult, very difficult. Invariably, when we get together, it comes up.
What do you wish you knew 30 years ago that you now know about running a business?
Well, I think to run a successful business, you have to be passionate. You have to like what you're doing, and I still have that passion, and I still like it. But to answer your question, maybe we should have given more thought to planning. Both my wife and I think we're pretty hard workers, and we get the job done, but we sometimes don't think about what's going to happen in 30 years' time.
Yes, and here we are.
Yeah, well, I mean, most companies don't last for 30 years.
So you broke the averages, didn't you?
I think I did. Yes, yes. It just sort of.
What do you put that down to? Why did you?
Well, hard work in the beginning, and my wife is a very good salesperson. She works hard, and she got a big order from Target, which sort of set us on our way. One day I was commuting to Sydney. The next day, we hired a factory unit. We bought machines, and we were off. And then we've always been innovative. We've always tried to develop either new products or new methods, or we've tried to do things better. And
can we talk about innovation for a while? We're a fan of innovation on the Central Coast, and often under celebrated. Do you have a structure that you innovate through?
Yes. As I was saying in the beginning, we're a wool company. The nucleus of our operation involves good Australian wool, but from there we've branched out into a whole pile of new products, innovative products like tencel, eucalyptus fibre, which we use to fill the quilts. We have a corn fibre quilt. We've got different sorts of mattress protectors and different sorts of pillows. Now pillows are a huge market, all different sorts of pillows, and if you want to be innovative, pillows are a wonderful way to do it, because
the appetite is
there's
endless.
all sorts of pillows. There's low profile pillows, there's high profile pillows, there's boomerang pillows, there's body pillows, there's all sorts of pillows. So and we go to overseas conferences and shows to sniff out these new products.
Do you is travel an important part in
I like going to China. I like going to China because they're so keen and upwardly mobile. You know, they're always wanting to do things, and you give them an idea and they develop it. It's very exciting.
And you are in a niche. You know, many Australian companies think, oh, you've got to be careful going to China. You went to China with quite a unique product.
Yes, and I guess like a lot of companies now we're a global company in that we buy product from China, and we also sell product to China. Some products they do much better than us. Just do a better than us, but with the wool we do that with the wool very, very well. So we concentrate on that side in the Chinese market.
The road to China. What would your advice be for people or companies who want to get into the China market?
I think you need to find someone who's already doing business up there now. it's a big place, a lot of people. What I did, I was fortunate enough to meet someone who was already doing business up there in the products that we handle. So initially, I started doing business up there through him, and I was lucky enough to meet a terrific fellow. He has a company in a place called BiUC, which is about 2.5 hours from Shanghai. His family live in Strathfield, so he knew the Australian culture and the Chinese culture. So that does.
How long ago was this?
This was at about 15 years ago.
Wow, that was early.
Yeah, yes. That's true. Now, in the meantime, I've built up a really good relationship with this fellow, and my sons have been to China lots of times, and my eldest son has just become engaged to this nice little Chinese girl, and they're up there now. They're up there doing business now. So, having a Chinese daughter-in-law is just going to be marvellous.
No more having to pay interpreters or anything.
Well, that's interesting. English is taught in the Chinese schools. There's more people learning English in China than there is people learning English in England. It's huge. They all want to speak English.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, I think there is a lesson there. Start early. Find associates.
Small, and there are lots of business people up there who can speak English. I've found them pretty good. One of the girls that I deal with up there, I've got quite close to her, and I said to her the other, I said, Joyce, what do you like about doing business with me? What do you like about doing business with Australian businessmen? And she looked at me and she thought for a while. She said, genuine. And I thought, well, it's marvellous, marvellous.
What is, percentage-wise, if it's not getting too personal, what does China represent to your turnover?
Sales-wise, it's only quite small, probably about 5%, I suppose.
Oh, right, okay.
But we do buy a lot of raw material and goods from them.
Okay. We may have touched on it already, Peter. If you were giving advice to someone who was about to start a business in 30 years' time, we'd be sitting here talking to her. What advice, what tip would you give a startup business?
Number one, you have to like what you're doing.
Absolutely, and it shows with you.
You have to like what you're doing, and you've got to be prepared to work hard. And I think to get from that initial level to a reasonable sized company, I think you've got to have a little bit of luck. I think you have to, that comes into it. But you need you really need that passion, and you need a good partner.
Yeah. I was going to raise Janita's role in this.
Fantastic. Yeah, I've been very fortunate. Yeah.
That's cool. Good for you.
That's good.
Let's talk about the next couple of years. What do you want to see change?
Well, we're still growing, and
are the Australian retailers? How do you manage that relationship?
I'm glad you asked that question. We have had a lot of support from Harvey Norman. Mm-hmm. Probably shouldn't mention names, but Harvey Norman are big supporters of Australian companies, and when you go into a Harvey Norman store, they'll have Australian wool quilts, and they can buy them. They can buy them cheaper from overseas, but they support us, which is terrific. So that's given us that ground. This has probably given us the base to expand.
And going forward, sorry I interrupted.
Going forward, well, I think we're always on the lookout for new products for beds, and those products will come along. Different types of pillows, different types of mattress protectors, different types of quilts. But we're also now looking for products that people have in the bed and in the house. For example, we're bringing out a range of bath mats because people have bath mats, and so we bring out a range of those. And in the bedroom, of course, you have those lamps on the side of the bed. So we're bringing out a range of lamps because our biggest, probably 90% of our customers are bedding stores, and all bedding stores sell bed lamps. So it's going to be a logical thing. So things are all on the go.
Indeed they are, indeed they are. We give a selected few an opportunity to rant about business and what they'd love to see change in business here on the Central Coast to make life easier. Is there anything that gets up yours and perhaps Janita's nose when it comes to working here on the coast?
Oh, well, lifestyle, the Central Coast is just wonderful. It's just the nicest place to live. But I guess looking back over the years, it's Gosford, the area down there near the waterfront, has such marvellous potential. It's just, and it's nothing happens,
The size says it all, Peter.
It's terrible. It's just terrible, and tourism. We're very close to Sydney, and I often think when I fly into Sydney Airport, you hear about the Blue Mountains, you hear a little bit about the Hunter, you see the harbour. No mention of the Central Coast.
And perhaps the Illawarra.
Illawarra too.
But indeed.
But it's and we could, I think we could do with some more restaurants, some restaurants that were pitched more at the medium price range.
I think we've got to get people up here who can afford it at that medium range.
Yeah,
see, that's the other challenge.
Yeah.
Or at least have, I think we've got people here who can afford it, but more often than not they're doing the transit to Sydney or Newcastle and getting back exhausted.
True, but there must be thousands of people living in those units up there where the old quarry is, and just down from there, there's nothing.
We'll see what we can do about getting the landing in. We really appreciate your time. Thanks.
Good
for
on you,
coming
Mark.
out. Okay.
Good on you.
Thank you. And our thanks for Janita letting you to come out on your own as well.